because initially when you move into a home, it's different. It's, you have like Keaton said, those are the bills that you probably aren't used to paying, electricity, gas, council tax, and the rest. But actually, having said that, I think Kit might be able to shed some light on this. I think the 0% deposits for tenants require the tenant to have been paying bills. So I don't suppose that actually that mortgage actually applies to people in HMOs. But if people have been living in self-contained accommodation where they're paying the council tax and they're paying the bills, then that mortgage, I think, is open to them. But nevertheless, everyone likes to be able to save. And again, Kit, I'm going to please draw you back in. So if you take in a lodger, say you take in a lodger, a good way to make sure that you don't waste that opportunity and fritter it away is to have made sure from the beginning that your mortgage is one where you can overpay by, say, 10% per annum. And then what you can do is you can put your rent into your mortgage, and that brings down your capital by each extra payment that you make. Obviously, if you take on a fixed mortgage and you pay more than you're allowed to pay it, I think you hit some penalties. But that is what a broker will actually guide you through. And before you know it, maybe you take on a 25-year mortgage or a 35-year mortgage. And if you keep on putting your rent amounts into it for, say, the first 5, 6, 7 years, that mortgage term is going to to reduce. But again, Kit will be able to tell us about this. The other thing that I would say about the lodger scheme, which is very, very good at the moment, is that it is tax free up to £7,500. So if you take in a lodger, the first £7,500 of the rent that you earn from the lodger, and I think there are certain constraints to that as well. I don't know if you can take in more than, if you're taking more than one lodger, I don't know if it still applies, but this is just guidance. This is just basic information for people to be aware of and to go think about it. And also, if you do buy a place, you're not going to really want more than one lodger, really, are you? Because otherwise, you're in an HMO situation. Then you're in, oh no, that you probably, if Keaton was looking at things, I would be saying to him, don't go down that particular road. You just want just one lodger, and that will be great. So I'm going to launch his poll now. Again, no questions there. But Kit, if you wouldn't mind coming back on the things that I've just mentioned, that will be great. Thank you.
Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Someone's asked for my contact details, but I don't have the setting to type in the box. I think only you can see it. So would you, perhaps anyone who would like to jot my number down rather than ask you, Patricia, to try and tinker with the settings, I'm easily contactable on 07975 848 007. I'll just repeat that. So 07975 848 007. So overpaying, yeah, 99% of mortgages do allow you to overpay. Um, so you probably see me on camera. I'm talking into my mic just so I can be heard. I'd say 99% of mortgages do allow you to overpay. What I tend to suggest is that people don't rush into overpaying and build themselves up an emergency fund first, because once you've made an overpayment on the mortgage, it can be tricky getting that money back. Sometimes the lender will say, well, seeing as you've overpaid by 1,500 quid, and your mortgage payment is typically 500 a month, they might say that you could have a mortgage holiday. But that's not quite as flexible as having access to the cash. Like you said earlier, Patricia, some people are not great at saving, but I would say that if you did have the opportunity to overpay, pay some money into a savings account that you're not going to touch unless you absolutely need to first. And once you've become more financially resilient, let's say you've got money in an account that would last 3 to 6 months in an emergency, that would be the time to start chipping away at your mortgage a bit quicker. So hopefully that answers that question. Was there anything else that you had on your mind, Patricia? Sorry.
No, thank you very much. That is really, really good. And again, your experience is just showing through there about, leaving people with options, letting people know that, sometimes you might actually just need that amount of money built up. But if you're not a saver, and this is how I tend to look at things. I tend to look at what is best for me to do as opposed to maybe what is the objective best thing to do, what people say is the best thing to do. And me not being a saver, I would always think, okay, if I put the money into the mortgage, it's going to stand me in good stead. Because if I don't put it into the mortgage, it won't be there anyway when I need it because I'd have spent it. So it's a question of us knowing ourselves.